Hello everyone, I'm very glad that you listened to my story. Please give me a follow and like the video if you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment and provide feedback so I can improve the sound quality. Yes, I will now continue the unfinished story. Chapter 33, Desolate Palms Technique. Yechen and also Chu Yueshan played the chase for 15 minutes, for these 15 minutes Yechen was really unable to chase Chu Yueshan. Yechen knew that Chu Yueshan's strength was above Yechen. Yechen gave up and lay on the grass. Yechen, have you given up? Then become stronger as fast as possible. Chu Yueshan tried to give encouragement to Yechen. Yueshan, can you get out of this place too? Yechen asked. Chu Yueshan, for the time being I cannot, unless you are capable enough to call me out. Yechen, do you mean? To maintain my body outside I need strength from you, so when I come out, your deep energy will be used as long as I am outside, and when your deep energy runs out, I will automatically return to inside the fairy gate. Chu Yueshan explained to Yechen about the details. Yechen, then what is your current cultivation base? It's a secret, but supposedly in the god realm only a few are able to fight with me, considering that the era of the gods has ended. If Yechen could call Chu Yueshan out, then Yechen would not have to fear anyone in the deity's realm. That's great, Yechen said, but how do you know that the era of the gods is over? Does this place have other masters before? Not you are the first person to be the owner of this place, but the person who made this place is the last true god, who is also the first spiritual weapon master in all the Deva realms. He made this place from the best and rarest things available in the Deva realm. Yechen, oh, I see. Let's see some places that are here. Chu Yuchan stood there, invited to draw Yechen's hand to get around this place. Yechen just resigned to follow Chu Yueshan. Just went several places such as medicinal plant gardens, hot water pemendus also in this place, training ground, armory, and also pills, workshop making weapons. There are even rooms for dual cultivation also here, with a super big bed that can hold dozens of people maybe. Unfortunately inside the armory and pill there was nothing. Then Yechen and Chu Yueshan proceeded to a tower of pagodas. When he entered, Yechen saw that the room inside was far bigger than what he could see outside. There were various neatly arranged books. Chu Yueshan said that this book is a cultivation technique or fighting art. Yechen thought there were more than hundreds of thousands of cultivation technique books, fighting techniques that were here. Yechen then immediately went and looked to see if there were any good fighting techniques for him. Chu Yueshan sat in a chair there and watched Yechen choose some cultivation techniques. Yechen, here you get one technique which according to him is quite strong and also suitable for him. Hey Yueshan, may I take this technique? Yechen asked. Chu Yueshan, what are you saying? Everything here is yours from now on, so you may take what you want. The name of the technique Yechen took was Desolate Palms. Desolate Palms has 5 stages. The first stage is displaying one finger to the 5th displaying one finger. Yechen then went to the training room to study and wanted to try it at the same time. To understand a technique usually had quite a long time, but Yechen only read it once. Yechen had understood it. So Yechen decided to give it a try. Yechen made the yang movement written in the book. Right then at the fairy gate the sky that was originally bright suddenly became pitch black. Yechen, Desolate Palms first finger technique, a hand that emits an ancient aura coming out from behind the clouds. There is only one finger that is open in the palm of the hand while the other 4 fingers are closed. Desolate Palms then crashed to the floor in the practice room and made a loud sound BMMMMM. The entire training room shook a little. Yechen was quite satisfied with this technique, although Desolate Palms was unable to make a scratch to the floor in this practice room, but judging by the effect it was definitely quite strong. This training room was made with a variety of strong stone palyang, therefore it was quite difficult to destroy it even if it was even Chu Yueshan. Yechen then tried it again, this time trying the second level of the second finger Desolate Palms technique. The sky is dark again, but now it's much darker than the first one. Yechen, Desolate Palms second finger technique. This time the hand that came out of the ancient aura was much stronger than before and the palm of his hand opened 2 fingers. Bam-autumn. The sound produced is much more intense. The power produced is also several times stronger than the first level that makes great vibrations in the practice room. Ha ha ha, very powerful technique. Ye Chen laughed because satisfied with this technique. After using the second level, Ye Chen felt his body was very weak. Ye Chen felt his vision become blurry and Ye Chen fell to the floor and passed out. Chu Yueshan, who was watching from a distance, could only shake his head, although Chu Yueshan had to admit that speed in Ye Chen's understanding was great, but it turned out that Ye Chen was quite stupid enough to faint after using the second level desolate palms technique. Ye Chen did not know the limitation of the deep energy that existed in his own body, because the burden of the desolate palms technique of the second finger was unable to withstand the deep energy in Ye Chen's current body. Chu Yuchan then approached to Ye Chen, who was currently collapsed on the floor. Chu Yueshan sat on the floor, then raised Ye Chen's head and put it on his thighs. Chu Yueshan stroked Ye Chen's hair. Seeing Ye Chen, who was currently sleeping peacefully, made Chu Yueshan happy. Chu Yuesha looked at Ye Chen's handsome face, and Chu Yueshan felt that he was not bored with this. Time passed so fast. After a few hours and the fainting, Ye Chen was finally a little conscious. Ye Chen felt something soft and soft propped up his head. The smell was also very fragrant at all. Ye Chen saw the two snow-white thighs before his eyes. When Ye Chen looked up at Ye Chen saw the two double mountain peaks encased in white cloth. Then Chu Yueshan's face appeared behind the two mountain peaks. Chu Yueshan, who looked up and said, "Ye Chen, are you awake?" Ye Chen immediately got up from Chu Yueshan's lap and sat here. Chu Yueshan. Ye Chen then asked Chu Yueshan, "Yueshan, what just happened to me? You just used the desolate palms technique and ran out of deep energy and then passed out." Ye Chen then remembered what happened to him just now. Ye Chen had no idea that the second level of desolate palms required a considerable amount of deep energy consumption. "Then how long have I passed out?" Ye Chen asked. "Maybe you fainted for about 8-9 hours, answered Chu Yueshan. Ye Chen, during that time, I must get out of here immediately. If not, I will be late going to school to meet Yan Yan." Chu Yueshan just laughed at Ye Chen's panic. "Ye Chen, you don't need to worry about the time here is much longer than in the real world. 5 days here are the same as 1 day in the real world. So long as you are here 10 hours in the outside world, only 2 hours. Ah, is this place really extraordinary?" Ye Chen said. "Now restore yourself first. I will go first for now. If you need anything, just call my name." Chu Yueshan then left the practice room. In the practice room, leaving only Ye Chen alone, Ye Chen then crossed his legs and absorbed the energy that was here to restore his strength and also while cultivating. Chapter 34, Saintess Body. After recovering the deep energy, Ye Chen then cultivated at the fairy's gate. After 1 full day, Ye Chen finally opened his eyes. Ye Chen looked around and found no trace of Chu Yueshan around him. Most likely, Chu Yueshan had not returned. Ye Chen finally called, "Yueshan, where are you?" A few moments later, Chu Yueshan finally appeared in front of Ye Chen. When Chu Yueshan appeared before Ye Chen almost had a nosebleed because the dress Yang Chu Yueshan was wearing was now dripping wet and Ye Chen could see the underwear that Chu Yueshan was wearing. "What are you doing? Dry your clothes quickly," Ye Chen said, turning his face away. Chu Yueshan was taking a shower and suddenly Ye Chen called to him, so Chu Yueshan immediately rushed over and forgot to dry himself. Chu Yueshan waved his hand and a wind enveloped him, and in just a few seconds Chu Yueshan's hair and clothes were already dry. "So why do you call me?" Chu Yueshan asked. "Ye Chen, how to get out of this place?" "Geez, you call me just to ask questions like that? All you need to do is use your mind to get out of this fairy gate," Chu Yueshan answered. "It's that easy." Then Ye Chen closed his eyes and used his mind. When Ye Chen opened his eyes again, Ye Chen was already in the hotel bedroom like before. "How did you understand the way to get out of here?" "The way to enter the fairy gate is the same as you only need to use your mind alone." Chu Yueshan spoke inside Ye Chen's mind. "Ye Chen, you can also speak in my mind also too." Chu Yueshan, "Not only can I speak in my mind but I can also see what the master sees." "Oh, I see." Yechen touched his chest and did not find the fairy gate artifact. Yang Yechen put on his chest before Yueshan. Where is the fairy gate artifact? Yechen asked. That artifact is now joined with your body. Flow your deep energy and look at the back of your hand. A picture of a fairy gate will surely appear. Chu Yueshan told Yechen to try it. Yechen then tried what Yang was instructed by Chu Yueshan, and sure enough, when Yechen ran his energy in the back of his hand, a tattoo of a fairy appeared. Yechen saw that the clock was 7 o'clock in the morning and the class would start in half an hour. Yechen got up from the bed, then washed his face and immediately changed clothes. When Yechen was about to wear his leather mask, asked by Chu Yueshan. Yechen, why are you wearing a mask to cover your face? Chu Yueshan asked. Yechen then explained what happened when Yechen first came here and did not wear this leather mask until he was chased by a woman. Chu Yueshan, who heard this, laughed. Yechen, is not because your face is more precisely because of the king's heart technique that you have, which can make a woman aroused just by looking at your face alone. It is a special charm technique possessed by the king's heart technique, and only people who have strong minds are not affected by the enchanting technique of the king's heart. Chu Yuchan then told him how to deactivate that charm technique. Yechen wanted to try it, so Yechen didn't wear a mask when going to school. While on the road there were indeed many women who saw Yechen, but they didn't do anything crazy. Just watched Yechen. On the way to Chu Yueshan school, he almost always asked questions about what attracted his attention because Chu Yueshan had never seen anything like that before, so Yechen had to explain it continuously while on the way to school. On the way to a point, a woman who has quite a lot of yin and told Yechen to immediately take her to bed to do dual cultivation. Yechen only shook his head, and tried not to hear the ravings of Chu Yueshan. Finally, after a few minutes riding, the Yechen bus finally arrived at the school gate. When arriving at the school gate, many students. The woman who saw Yechen wasn't too used to being the center of attention. Hey, is he a transfer student? I've never seen him before, said one female student. I also do not know, but he is very handsome. Even my idol artist is less handsome with him, said one of the women with starry eyes. Do you think he has a girlfriend or not? If not yet, I want to be his girlfriend. Many women talked about Yechen behind Yechen. When Yechen arrived in class, there were only a few students who had arrived. Yechen looked at the whole class and found Zhao Yanyan, who was focused on reading the book. Yechen wanted to surprise him. Yechen settled down and arrived behind Zhao Yanyan and covered Zhao Yanyan's eyes with both hands. Yechen disguised the voice. Guess who? Ah, who are you? Quickly release me. Zhao Yanyan doesn't know whose voice this is. Zhao Yanyan panic. Yechen finally used his original voice. Let's guess, if not then I won't let it go. Hearing the voice this time, Zhao Yanyan knew that this was Yechen. Yechen quickly released the naughty net. Yechen finally let go of his hand and sat next to Zhao Yanyan. When Zhao Yanyan looked behind Zhao Yanyan to see Yechen showing his real face. Yechen, why don't you wear a mask like yesterday? Zhao Yanyan asked. I'm not too fond of wearing it, so I just let it go. Yechen said. Didn't you say there would be a problem if you took off your skin mask? Asked Zhao Yanyan again. Yechen, I can overcome the problem, so I don't need to worry anymore. I see, but why do I feel something's different from you, huh? It might just be your feeling, Yanyan, Yechen said, maybe because Yechen didn't activate the enchantment of the king's heart technique. What master is your woman? Chu Yueshan asked in Yechen's mind. Yes, she is my girlfriend, Yechen answered proudly. This woman has the body of Kusu Saintess, who can make her a great cultivator in the future, said Chu Yueshan. Saintess's body, what else? Yechen asked. Saintess's body is a special body that is less frequent than the owner of the pure body, yin. If the body is Bankin, then the path of the mind of the owner will be far more advanced than other cultivators. Even the speed of the practice can be 5 times faster than the owner of the body, yin, pure. Chu Yueshan explained as simple as possible so Yechen could find out. Yechen had no idea that Zhao Yanyan had such a special body. Chu Yuchen Yechen, You're really lucky to be able to find a woman who has a special body in a remote place like this. If this woman can awaken her body specifically, surely a woman can increase her strength very quickly. Then how to awaken Yanyan's special body quickly? Ye Chen asked. It's easy, you just need to do dual cultivation with him. With your ancient Yankee it should be easy enough to awaken his saintess body, Chu Yueshan answered, speaking in his mind. Ye Chen did not depart that it turned out that the method was quite easy, but the problem was how to persuade Zhao Yanyan to do dual cultivation with him. Is there no other way? Ye Chen asked. Other ways can only wait for the saintess's body to rise up on its own, but the time needed also cannot be known. But why are you hesitating about dual cultivation? You are a man, you should be the one who took the initiative. Chu Yueshan tried to advise Ye Chen. Hey, who are you to dare to occupy my chair? A harsh voice shouted at Ye Chen. Chapter 35, Zhao Yanyan's Ricks. The person who shouted at Ye Chen had a ferocious face. This man was Sentu, who was a tyrant in this class. Everyone in this class was afraid of him. Sentu immediately walked towards Ye Chen, then Sentu lifted the collar of Ye Chen's shirt and pulled him away from his seat. How dare you occupy my seat? Do you not know who I am? I don't know you and I don't want to know either, Ye Chen said indifferently. Sentu, who heard this, anger ignited in the whole class. Almost all students are afraid of him, and now there are new students who are not afraid of him. It seems I have to give lessons so you know your place. Students who have come to see this, and they want to watch what will happen to this poor handsome man who dares to provoke Sentu's day. Sentu prepared to hit on his face. Ye Chen smiled wickedly. Ye Chen caught the hand from Sentu's day. Tulyuan croc from the finger of Sentu made a clear voice. Release pain. Sentu screamed in pain and tried to wriggle to get his fist out of Ye Chen. It's a shame that the capit doesn't want to let go. I do not like violence, but if you are still looking for trouble with me again, then I will not hesitate in the future, Ye Chen warned Sentu. After that Ye Chen threw Sentu back and hit a wall. Sentu tried to get up from the floor and saw that his hand was trembling in pain. His hand was really red-colored and his body hurt after hitting Diding, but he didn't dare to protest towards Ye Chen. But later Sentu will make a few brothers who are in the gang to make him disabled. Sentu immediately leave the class so he doesn't lose more face. Ye Chen, you are okay? Zhao Yanya immediately approached Ye Chen and asked about his situation. I'm fine, just small ants trying to find a problem with me, said Ye Chen, insulting Sentu's day. Ye Chen, though Sentu is not too strong, but behind him there are some evil gangs, that's why people who are in school prefer to avoid him. I'm afraid he will look for trouble again to you, said Zhao Yanyan, a little worried about Ye Chen. Take it easy Yanyan Sanyang, I can definitely handle it, because I'm strong, just trust me, Ye Chen said confidently. Yanyan always believes in what Ye Chen said, so Ye Chen and also Zhao Yanyan returned to their seats. Zhao Yanyan went back to studying a book. Yanyan, why do you memorize English this morning? Ye Chen asked. Today there will be a sudden test today, Ruxi's older sister told me, Zhao Yanyan said. Ye Chen, oh, it turned out that way. You must also fight. If your grades are good, then I will give you a special gift. Yanyan tries to motivate Yanyan. What is that special gift? Ye Chen was quite curious about what gifts Zhao Yanyan would give to him. He Zhao Yanyan laughing and saying, it's a secret. If your score is good in today's test, then I will give it, but if the result is bad, then the prize will be cancelled. I'll look forward to it later. After saying then Ye Chen slept on his desk. Hey, why are you sleeping, eyes? Even though Zhao Yanyan hoped Ye Chen would be even more excited. Zhao Yanyan didn't know that Ye Chen had memorized all the subjects in the school, because Ye Chen's ability to answer must be 100% accurate. Zhao Yanyan was helpless to see this, then went back to learning. I don't know how long Ye Chen slept until Zhao Yanyan woke him up. Hey, King, sleep, Ruxi's sister's lesson will soon begin. Quickly wake up, Zhao Yanyan tried to wake Ye Chen. Ha, what time is Yanyan now? Ye Chen asked while rubbing his eyes. Ye Chen really felt comfortable sleeping near Zhao Yanyan. It's 11 o'clock already, said Zhao Yanyan helplessly. Ha, I've slept more than 3 hours. Ye Chen actually wanted to sleep for only a few tens of minutes but didn't expect that I would sleep for more than 3 hours. Yes, and you have missed 2 other subjects belonging to his teacher. Zhao Yanyan looked away and started ignoring Ye Chen. Yanyan, did I make a mistake? I'm sorry. Ye Chen knew that Zhao Yanyan was angry. Zhao Yanyan then face to face with Ye Chen. Ye Chen considers this as my request. In the future surely my grandfather will put me in the best university in the country. What will I do if you cannot enter there? I do not want to be separated from you. Ye Chen, who heard this, was touched by the words of Zhao Yanyan, even though they were just dating, but the two of their ties were inseparable. Ye Chen then took Zhao Yanyan's hand. Yanyan, I promise that I will definitely get good grades from now on. Zhao Yanyan's eyelids softly after hearing this. Zhao Yanyan was happy because Ye Chen could understand what Zhao Yanyan wanted. Zhang Liao's empty chair today, that's why Zhang Liao didn't bother Ye Chen. Ye Chen felt that there were many women in the class who often glanced at him. Chapter 36, Kisses Indirectly. Okay, the time is over, gather all your books, and your English notes in front. Linruxi ordered one of the students to collect all the books. After all the books were collected, Linruxi distributed the questionnaires to all the students. You have 1 hour to answer this question. After the time is up or not finished, you just collect your answers. If you feel finished before the time, you can also collect them. The cheating will get a punishment. Linruxi explains the rules. Linruxi looked at the clock in his hand and said, time starts from now. After Linruxi gave the signal, all the students immediately worked on problem. Ye Chen also began working on the problems. Ye Chen saw the question and it was very easy to do. Ye Chen then began to write all the answers of all the questions. Only within 10 minutes the answer sheet Ye Chen was already full of writing. Ye Chen stood up from his seat and came forward. Ye Chen then piled up the answer sheet and filled back into his seat. This scene was also seen by all students in the class. Linruxi looked at his watch and saw that time was running for about 10 minutes and Ye Chen had already collected the answer sheet. Linruxi then said to Ye Chen, are you sure? To collect it, there is still 50 minutes left. Why don't you correct it first? Teacher Lin, I am sure of the answer I wrote. After saying this, Ye Chen returned to his seat. Strangely, the whole class looked at Ye Chen with a look of pity. Even though in this class, all students were not smart in their lessons, but they were not stupid enough to answer them with careless origins. These were the subjects of their homeroom teacher, Linruxi. If anyone got a score below 30, then there will definitely be a full-day lecture by Master Linruxi. Ye Chen, why are you too hunted to collect the answer? Not a long time. Are you sure of the answer? Zhao Yanyan worried about Ye Chen when he got bad grades. Ye Chen, calm down Yanyan darling, I'm confident with my own answer. By the way, what's the prize for me later? Ye Chen is laughing satisfied. Zhao Yanyan's face immediately blushed. Forget if you get a bad score, just watch out. After that Zhao Yanyan focused answering those English questions. Ye Chen was quite bored waiting. There were still about 40 minutes left until the practice exam was over, so Ye Chen slept while absorbing yin from Zhao Yanyan. Linruxi was quite curious about Ye Chen's worksheet, so Linruxi took and looked at the contents Ye Chen wrote. The more Linruxi saw her, the more surprised. All of Ye Chen's answers were almost the same as the one in the answer key that Linruxi made. What made Linruxi shocked was that Ye Chen had finished all the questions Yag had in just 10 minutes. Linruxi did not think that Ye Chen was smart enough in terms of lessons. It was clear that Ye Chen's worksheet was alright and there were no wrong answers Ye Chen's belonged to. This was the first time anyone had a perfect score in this class during Linruxi start teaching here. Linruxi looked towards the place where Ye Chen sat and Linruxi saw that Ye Chen was sleeping while the other students were working on the practice test. Linruxi, who saw this, shook his head. Linruxi actually wanted to reprimand him, but it was okay for Ye Chen to finish. Finally the exam time is over and all students collect all the answer sheets in front of the class, including Zhao Yanyan too. Linruxi then corrected the results of all the answer sheets belonging to all students. The students were not too enthusiastic about the results of their answers. After 15 minutes later Linruxi called students one by one and read the score. 30, 41, 35, 51, 47, 39 results from the average students who are here. Even nobody touches the value of 60. Yechen finally understands why this class is called the worst class. Students who are here are very bad at exam. Zhao Yanyan graded 90. Linruxi read out the results of the examination when the results of the retrial were read aloud to the entire class. It is worthy of being a goddess in our hearts. The value is very good. Yak, you're right, we're very lucky to still have Zhao Yanyan who begged in our class. Male students praised Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Linruxi then handed over the results to Zhao Yanyan. Yanyan's good work, Linruxi whispered, and only with Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan was displeased with this. Zhao Yanyan was worried about the value that Yechen would get. Yechen's results are when Linruxi read out the results of Yechen, all the students became curious. Because Yechen had already collected the results of his answer in just 10 minutes, which made all the students guess Yechen answered it carelessly. Linruxi 100. When Linruxi's words were finished, all the students in the class were quiet. They thought they were not mistaken. Hear what had just been said by teacher Linruxi. Yechen accepted the results of the examination and saw the 3-digit number, which was 100. Zhao Yanyan, who was beside him, closed his mouth in surprise as well as the results. Teacher, maybe Yechen cheated from the book. Yechen must have cheated on how he could get such a perfect score. Sentu first protested and was followed by several male students in the class. Whereas female students look at Yechen with starry eyes. In the minds of female students, besides handsome, Yechen is also very smart. Who is a woman who does not like men who are handsome and smart? Zhao Yanyan is more happy because his men get good grades. Silent Linruxi slammed the ruler on the table, which made the noisy class like the market calm. All of you think that Yechen copied the results from the book? Then I ask if you have seen someone cheating can finish in just 10 minutes? Linruxi then asked all the students in the class. All students in the class were silent because they just remembered that Yechen had finished the test in just 10 minutes. So the students who were protesting accepted Yechen's results gracefully, but that did not apply to Sentu. His sense of hatred towards Yechen was getting bigger and bigger. After seeing that the students were able to accept it, Linruxi then said, "Today's lesson will end here. You who get a score below 50, then you have to do the exercises question 50-60 and get it collected tomorrow. Those who don't collect can't get into class. Now you can rest now." Students who score below 50 face suddenly become gloomy, including Sen Tuesday. "Yanyan, I have got a good grade. Where my gift?" Yechen asked impatiently. "Huh, not here, I'll give it to you later," Zhao Yanyan said with a reddened face. "Then where will you give the gift to me?" Yechen asked again. "Zhao Yanyan, let's go to the back garden of the school first." Yechen began to think with dirty thoughts, maybe Yanyan would give his body to him. When the two of them are ready to go to the park behind the school, Linruxi called Yechen, "Come with me to my office." Yechen was quite displeased with this. Good things would start soon and Linruxi messed it up. "Yechen, I will wait for you in the back garden of the school then Zhao Yanyan go first to the back garden of the school. Yechen was helpless and could only follow Linruxi towards his room. After arriving at Linruxi's private room, Linruxi then walked to his chair and took 2 boxes from his drawers and put them on the table. "Yechen, because I promised that if you cure my illness, I will treat you food. This is food for you. This food is much healthier than instant food sold in the canteen." Linruxi said with a slightly flushed face. Linruxi tried to hold the image as a teacher in front of Yechen, but still Linruxi was still shy. Yechen was not Sigan and received the city food that Linruxi gave. Yechen then opened the contents inside. When the food box is opened, inside the food is neatly arranged. There are vegetables, tomatoes, danging, and also eggs, which are complete foods for nutrition for growth. And this food looks really good. Yechen just remembered that Zhao Yanyan once said that the food made by Linruxi was better than what he made. So Yechen immediately took 1 bite, and sure enough the food was very delicious. Yechen immediately ate it heartily. Linruxi Yang saw how to eat Yechen laughing in his heart. Linruxi thought that the situation would become ambiguous but apparently not. Yechen seemed to think that he was eating with friends not with master. Linruxi also opened the food supply for herself, and what was in the food box was almost exactly what Yechen ate. Linruxi also started to eat it but slowly and gracefully. Yechen finally finished eating all the food in the box. Linruxi then asked when the next treatment would be carried out. Yechen replied that the treatment would be done in a few days, and the method was still the same, namely massage, but in the end Yechen would use a needle to remove the remaining cold air and Linruxi could recover completely. When Yechen said that Linruxi's massage remembered the indecent shouts last night, but fortunately Yechen didn't discuss it at all, so Linruxi felt relieved. Linruxi fetched a cup and poured tea for Yechen, from wherever Linruxi was like a wife serving her husband while eating. But Linruxi didn't realize this and just getting carried away. Linruxi was shocked at the speed Yechen was eating. Linruxi's food stock was still lacking a little but Yechen's had run out. Because Yechen had finished saying goodbye to leave because there was still an appointment with Zhao Yanyan teacher Lin I go first, Yechen got up and left the room belonging to Linruxi. Linruxi seeing the departure of Yechen, actually Linruxi was happy to be able to eat together with Yechen because this was the first time Linruxi had eaten with the opposite sex. What else was still his own student. Linruxi picked up the glass and gulped down the tea and then drank it. After finishing drinking, Linruxi seeing that there was another glass beside him, Linruxi then realized that the glass he made to drink was Yechen's. It seemed like Linruxi was wrong in taking the glass. Linruxi screamed, I just drank from Yechen's former name. It's not this, which was called a kiss indirectly. After saying that, Linruxi's face turned red like an apple. What's more, Yechen was his disciple. The more Linruxi thought about it, the more red his face was. Yechen didn't know the scene because Yechen had already left for the back garden of the school at full speed. Chapter 37, Zhao Yanyan was kidnapped. Yechen, who had arrived at the backyard school garden, Yechen searched for Zhao Yanyan's whereabouts but Yechen did not find it. Yechen felt a pretty bad premonition. Yechen saw the butterfly ribbon that Zhao Yanyan often used fell to the ground. Yechen then took the butterfly ribbon and it turned out that the ribbon seemed to fall and was trampled by someone until it was damaged. Yechen then used his spirit sensei to search for Zhao Yanyan, but as far as a 5-mile radius, but Yechen found no trace of Zhao Yanyan, which made Yechen even more worried. Yechen then widened his range to a maximum of 10 miles, but still Yechen found no sign of Zhao Yanyan's whereabouts. Yuchan, can you help me look for Zhao Yanyan? Yechen tried to ask Chu Yueshan for help to find Zhao Yanyan's whereabouts now. Chu Yueshan, yes Yechen, I can do, but I have to use your Medallium energy. Yechen is good. Then Yechen felt his profound energy seemed to be sucked up very fast. If this was done for a long time, Yechen could run out of profound energy. Chu Yueshan seemed to use his spirit sensei to detect Zhao Yanyan's whereabouts. Chu Yueshan, Yechen, Zhao Yanyan is in the north 25 mil from here. Looks like Zhao Yanyan is moving very fast leaving the city. There are 9 people who are around Zhao Yanyan. One among the 9 people is a cultivator. After hearing where Zhao Yanyan, Yechen's whereabouts were immediately flew in the direction of where Chu Yueshan was told. Elsewhere in a black car there are a total of 4 people who carry pistols and wear ski masks. This woman's boss looks beautiful. Can we play it first? Asked one of the criminals. We have to get a big boss's license first, and this woman is pretty. Also, if sold, it will certainly be quite expensive, the man called boss said to his men. Ah, what a shame, said the villain. Calm down, at the school there are still more 3 beautiful women, including teachers in the class that I entered are also beautiful. I will look for the right time to kidnap her and we certainly can get quite a lot of money from selling all the beautiful women in the school. Young man Sura said to all the people in the car. Zhao Yanyan is currently in the back of the chair and his mouth is being gagged by a cloth, his arms and legs are also tied by a rope which makes him unable to do anything. From their conversation they must be a plot to sell women to be made slaves for rich people abroad. Zhao Yanyan did not think that he would fall into the hands of people like this. Initially Zhao Yanyan went to the park behind the school. The park behind the school rarely went there, when Zhao Yanyan was waiting for Ye Chen. A classmate approached him. This young man was a gloomy young man who was saved by Ye Chen when he first entered Class J. This young man immediately took out a cloth and closed his nose until his consciousness disappeared. When Zhao Yanyan was awake, Zhao Yanyan was in the car with his mouth and hands tied. And around him were 4 criminals who wore ski masks carrying pistol guns, and aimed at Zhao Yanyan's head, which made Zhao Yanyan very scared. Zhao Yanyan had never been in a situation like this. Zhao Yanyan only hoped that Ye Chen would come to save him, but that might just be a miracle in the current situation. Ye Chen flew with all the speed he had and was finally able to catch up with the people who brought Zhao Yanyan. Ye Chen saw 2 black cars moving at a very fast speed in the car that each contained 5 people including Zhao Yanyan also in it. Zhao Yanyan is locked in the back and front of the car filled by criminals only. Ye Chen then landed on a few dozen meters in front of that car, bam. When Ye Chen landed, the ground around Ye Chen cracked. The car of the people who kidnapped Zhao Yanyan still did not want to stop even when he saw Ye Chen in front of him. "Boss, there is a strange person in front, should we stop?" The criminal in the other car told me through a walkie-talkie. "Just shoot and hit him," the man called Boss gave the order to the people in the front car. The villains in the front opened the Murica window and took their heads off at Ye Chen. Bang, 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 shot sounds. Ye Chen remained standing in his place as if a bullet aimed at him was not a threat to him. The bullets rained down on Ye Chen, but it didn't hurt Ye Chen at all. Ye Chen's body was very hard. This small caliber bullet wasn't a threat to him. That car didn't seem to have the desire to stop and want to crash into Ye Chen. Ye Chen did a ready position to hit. When the car was ready to crash into Ye Chen hit the car until it flew tens of meters. The car spun around in the air and landed dozens of yards from Ye Chen and exploded boom. The 5 people who were in it could not get out and explode along with that car. Seeing this, the second car in which immediately stepped on the brakes. Suddenly the brake sound was heard. The car stopped about 10 meters from Ye Chen. The remaining 4 people from the 9 criminals finally got out of the car and Zhao Yanyan was also taken out. 2 of the 4 people aimed their weapons at Ye Chen and 1 pointed at Zhao Yanyan. Ye Chen looking at these 4 people, one of them was the gloomy Ye Chen saved yesterday when he wanted to enter the classroom. Ye Chen had no idea that he was a member of these criminals. Ye Chen also saw Zhao Yanyan crying and his mouth was gagged by a cloth and his arms and legs were tied up. Zhao Yanyan wanted to say something to Ye Chen, but unfortunately his mouth was now on a gag that made him unable to speak. Ye Chen, who saw this, was getting angry. These bad guys dared to make Zhao Yanyan cry. "Who are you really?" asked the boss of the criminals. Boss of the criminals did not use a firearm, instead using a one-hand katana. This person looked to be around 40 years old and had a 3rd-level realm spirit formation base. That's why among these 4 people, only this person wasn't afraid of Ye Chen. The others held the pistol with a little trembling. Ye Chen did not want to talk much and immediately rushed towards the 4 people with lightning speed. These people could not see the Ye Chen movement. They only felt that their chest was hurting, and these 3 people were flying dozens of meters away. When these 3 people landed on the ground, they were shedding blood, which was very much, and finally died. The boss of the criminals, who saw this incident, could not maintain his calm anymore. The boss of the criminals has been through the battle of life and death, and countless people have died in his hands. But today he feels a terror from a youth who is less than 20 years old. The boss of the bad guys can't run anymore, so he gritted his teeth and prepared to fight with Ye Chen. Ye Chen lifted his index finger, and from the index finger a fire came out. Ye Chen then directed the fire towards the villain. When the fire left Ye Chen's finger and rushed towards the criminal boss, when the fire touched the criminal boss, the fire immediately enlarged and covered the criminal boss. Ah! The boss of the criminal is screaming in pain. In a matter of 1 minute, his whole body has been burned to the bone to be ashes. Ye Chen didn't hold back his strength at all, so for the spirit formation cultivator, he would definitely be able to immediately kill him without any resistance at all. Zhao Yanyan was quite surprised to see a scene like this. Finally, all the bad guys have been eliminated by Ye Chen. Ye Chen then opened all the ties in Zhao Yanyan's body. When all bonds were opened, Zhao Yanyan cried and hugged Ye Chen. It's all done. Ye Chen patted Zhao Yanyan's back to calm him down. Ye Chen, I'm very scared, I'm afraid I can't see you anymore, Zhao Yanyan said, crying in Ye Chen's arms. Yanyan, I will always be there for you and always protect you, I promise, Ye Chen swears. Seeing this chaotic place, surely soon there will be a ton of police who came here, so Ye Chen and also Zhao Yanyan must go immediately so as not to get into trouble further. Yanyan, let's go away from this place, Ye Chen invited Zhao Yanyan to leave this place. Zhao Yanyan just nodded obediently. Ye Chen then picked up Zhao Yanyan like a princess and flew. After seeing that incident, Ye Chen didn't have to hide his power from Zhao Yanyan again. Chapter 38, Dual Cultivation. Warning, this scene contains adult scenes if you don't like it or are underage. Ye Chen took Zhao Yanyan to fly to the place of the hotel where Ye Chen lived. Ye Chen did not bring Zhao Yanyan off to school. Ye Chen brought Zhao Yanyan to his place to calm down first. This was for the good of Zhao Yanyan too. Zhao Yanyan, seeing the scenery below the first time Zhao Yanyan was flying, but not on a plane but in the arms of Ye Chen's arms. Zhao Yanyan had only seen the scene of people flying on television, but Zhao Yanyan had no idea that he would feel it in real life. Zhao Yanyan asked if Ye Chen was a superhuman. After 5 minutes of traveling, Ye Chen brought Zhao Yanyan into his room through the open window. Zhao Yanyan, Ye Chen, how many more secrets do you have? Actually, Zhao Yanyan asked. Ye Chen, Yanyan, I don't want to hide it from you, but I'm afraid you can't accept it. Don't say it like that, I will definitely accept you for who you are, said Zhao Yanyan. Ye Chen was quite touched by Zhao Yanyan's words. Ye Chen took Zhao Yanyan's hand and held it with both his hands and said, I will also accept you for what Yanyan is, dear. Both of their eyes met. Ye Chen saw Zhao Yanyan's seri lips. Ye Chen then approached toward Zhao Yanyan's lips. Zhao Yanyan knew what Ye Chen would do, so Zhao Yanyan closed his eyes. Both of his lips met. Ye Chen kissed Zhao Yanyan greedily. Not until there Ye Chen put his tongue into Zhao Yanyan's mouth. Zhao Yanyan also started cooperating with Ye Chen, both of their tongues entangled with each other. The feeling of a kiss like this made Zhao Yanyan immediately lose his mind. Finally, after Zhao Yanyan could not breathe, Ye Chen let go. Ye Chen carried Zhao Yanyan and threw him to bed. Ye Chen could no longer stand it. Ye Chen closed the window and the curtains first. Zhao Yanyan asked Ye Chen. Ye Chen waved his hand and immediately the window and curtains immediately closed, making this place a little dark. Zhao Yanyan knew what Ye Chen would do next. At the bottom of his heart, Zhao Yanyan had accepted Ye Chen as her husband. Ye Chen began to release Zhao Yanyan's clothes button, and a plain white bra appeared before Ye Chen's eyes. Ye Chen then let go of the white bra. After the bra was removed, the two newly developed double peaks of Zhao Yanyan were exposed in Ye Chen's eyes. Ye Chen then touched and squeezed the two very soft double peaks, making Zhao Yanyan attack pleasure. Ye Chen used the King's Heart technique, which made more and more enjoyment from Zhao Yanyan. Ye Chen is lighter, Zhao Yanyan moaned, enjoying Ye Chen's touch. Zhao Yanyan was already feeling in heaven only from the touch of Ye Chen. Ye Chen looked at the double peak of Zhao Yanyan, and saw the two pink sari Zhao Yanyan. Ye Chen then played with the two pink sari, then inserted it into his mouth and sucked him like a suckling baby. Ah! Zhao Yanyan could only moan pleasure. Zhao Yanyan never felt pleasure like this in his life. That made him unable to say anything else. Zhao Yanyan felt his bottom was soaking wet, juice overflowed from the hole in his lower body. After being satisfied smoking two of Zhao Yanyan's, Ye Chen sari then went down and opened Zhao Yanyan's skirt. When opening Yanyan's panties, Zhao Yanyan was already wet with Zhao Yanyan's own juice. Ye Chen, don't look. It's a shame. Zhao Yanyan tried to cover her private parts by using her hands. No, this Yanyan is very beautiful, Ye Chen said. Ye Chen then stretched out his hand and helped Zhao Yanyan take off his underwear. After opening the underwear, Ye Chen saw a little hole in the color of pink yang which was already wet with juice. Ye Chen's face approached, then stretched out his tongue to suck Zhao Yanyan's little hole. Seeing what Ye Chen would do, Zhao Yanyan shouted, "Ah, Ye Chen is dirty." "Ye Chen, there's nothing dirty about you dear." Ye Chen continued to suck. Ye Chen didn't waste yin from Zhao Yanyan, so Ye Chen continued to suck the yang juice out of Zhao Yanyan's small hole. Ah! Ahh! Zhao Yanyan continued to make a sweet moan. Zhao Yanyan's mind was already empty. Zhao Yanyan could only be passive in accepting this pleasure. Seeing the preparations was enough, Ye Chen stopped to suck, preparing to take the courtesy of Zhao Yanyan. Ye Chen took off all the clothes he was wearing. Zhao Yanyan saw Ye Chen take off his clothes and saw Ye Chen's big brother. The size of Ye Chen's meat stick was 11 inches and its size was almost the same as Zhao Yanyan's wrist. Initially Ye Chen's meat stick was only 4.5 inches long, but after practicing the King's Heart technique unconsciously it became 11 inches. Zhao Yanyan, who saw the big stick that was twitching, was quite frightened, whether such a large object could get into him. Ye Chen approached Zhao Yanyan and directed his meat level to Zhao Yanyan's small hole. "Zhao Yanyan, Ye Chen, I'm a little scared." "Ye Chen, calm down, Yanyan, the pain will only be at ease after that. I'll make sure it feels very good. Then make me yours forever." Zhao Yanyan reached out his hand and waited for Ye Chen to insert his large meat stick. Ye Chen then slowly walked in. When Ye Chen's large meat stick came in, Zhao Yanyan felt his body was like torn. Zhao Yanyan hugged Ye Chen's back and his nails scratched Ye Chen's flesh. Finally, the meat stick managed to enter. Ye Chen did not move to look at Zhao Yanyan, who was moved to tears. "Does it still hurt?" Ye Chen asked. Zhao Yanyan, Ye Chen feels sick. After waiting for a few minutes the pain finally decreased. "Ye Chen, you can move now." After getting approval from Zhao Yanyan, Ye Chen began to move slowly. Zhao Yanyan felt a little pain as Ye Chen moved, but after several times the pain had disappeared and was replaced by unrivaled pleasure. "Ah, ah, 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 ah. More husband tastes great," shouted Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan did not call Ye Chen anymore but called her husband. Luckily the hotel room was soundproof. Even though Zhao Yanyan shouted Sagat loudly, it wouldn't be heard by anyone else. Ye Chen circulated his King's Heart technique, yin, which Ye Chen could get by Ye Chen hundreds of times more than absorbing yin from the air, let alone the flower path. Zhao Yanyan gripped his meat stick very tightly, which also made Ye Chen feel too delicious. "Ah, husband, not too deep, ah, deeper, it feels too extraordinary, something will come out." Ah. Finally, Zhao Yanyan's kamas come. Ye Chen continued on because Ye Chen hadn't come out yet. "Ah, husband, let me rest for a moment." Zhao Yanyan tried to ask for mercy. But Ye Chen ignored it and kept moving forward and backward. Ye Chen also felt an extraordinary pleasure, as if Ye Chen wanted to continue to do it for a while. The battle continued. After an hour Ye Chen finally took out his Yankee in the depths of Bunga Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan panted like a broken ship in a fierce sea. Zhao Yanyan didn't know how many times he had come out, which Zhao Yanyan knew felt very extraordinary, like a difference in heaven. Even for 17 years Zhao Yanyan this feeling was the most pleasing. Zhao Yanyan knew that he would not be able to leave this man who took his virginity again. Zhao Yanyan saw that Ye Chen's younger brother was still standing upright, which made him a little scared. From the book that Zhao Yanyan read, a normal man could have an intimate relationship for just 10-20 minutes, but Ye Chen really threw him for 1 hour, and a younger brother Ye Chen's man still wasn't limp. Seeing Chen approached himself and still wanted to continue again, Zhao Yanyan asked for mercy. "Husband, spare me, I can no longer do it anymore, my bottom may already swollen." Seeing the bottom of Zhao Yanyan, it was already swollen, Ye Chen took pity and released it. "I understand, wife, then sleep." Ye Chen then pulled Zhao Yanyan to his chest. Zhao Yanyan felt a very sweet feeling. Because of exhaustion, Zhao Yanyan quickly fell asleep on Ye Chen's chest. Seeing Zhao Yanyan sleeping peacefully, Ye Chen turns him. Finally Zhao Yanyan became his woman, and today's harvest, yin, from Zhao Yanyan is quite rich. Only from doing dual cultivation with Zhao Yanyan, Ye Chen has risen 2 levels from the ancient warrior realm to the 6th level realm. It became level 8, probably because Zhao Yanyan's special body of saintess made him break through 2 levels at once. Ye Chen finally accompanied Zhao Yanyan to sleep. Ye Chen did not know that the love scene with Zhao Yanyan was chosen by Chu Yueshan. Chu Yueshan originally did not want to see, but out of curiosity Chu Yueshan saw it. Upon seeing Ye Chen and Zhao Yanyan doing dual cultivation, Chu Yueshan's body felt hot, and involuntarily, Chu Yueshan touched his private parts with his own hands. Chu Yueshan though often teases Ye Chen, but in truth Chu Yueshan is still a pure virgin who has never felt being touched by a man. Chapter 39, Mysterious Female Police Officer. In another place, the place where Ye Chen was fighting was now filled by the police who secured that place. Initially a driver reported that there was an accident in the lane near the city border. The police who received the report immediately headed to the place where the accident was. When they got there the police were shocked, because at the scene there was a fairly large crack, and around the crack there were a lot of gun bullets scattered about, and the bullets were not intact. The bullet shape was flat and bumped like crashing into something very big hard. The police were assigned immediately to secure the location around the place. The police also began to interrogate the person who reported the incident for the first time. But when asked, the person who reported said that, when he was passing on this road he saw a black car that was stopped in the middle of the road and a crack a few meters in front of the car, so the informant stopped his car on the side of the road and went down to see it. When the informant saw the crack that was on the road from close range, there was something similar like a bullet scattered about, but the informant did not know that it was a bullet because it looked almost like a coin because flattened. The informant wants to see if there is someone inside the car parked in the middle of the road. After looking closely, it turns out that no one is in the car. That makes the informant confused. Why is this good car left in a place like this? Moreover, the car key is still attached. Then when the informant looked around the place, and the informant saw something burnt looks in the distance a few hundred meters from where he stands today. Because the informant's curiosity approached him, after walking several tens of meters the informant saw that what was burning was a pretty good car. The informant did not dare to come any closer and immediately called the police and reported what he saw at this time. After hearing all the explanations from the informant, the police immediately conducted an investigation. After an investigation it turned out there were a total of 8 victims. For how the police were deployed was quite confused to conclude, because there seemed to be a fight at this location a while ago. Car tire trail shows that the car is about to head towards the crack, but when it gets around the crack of the car tire disappears and the car suddenly arrives at discover a few hundred meters from the last place of the car tire trail. Moreover, cracks on this road are not the result of explosives. That's why the police do not know the origin of this big crack. Because the police found a way in this case, they called the central office and explained all the inconveniences at the location, and asked for help from the special investigation team. After that the police who were there waiting for the investigation team to come to this place. After waiting approximately 20 minutes, at the end there were 2 cars approaching towards them. The other one was a black Jeep. A new Lamborghini luxury sports car. After the 2 cars were parked on the side of the road, the people inside came out one by one. In the black Jeep car came out 4 people wearing black suits, and in the Lamborghini car came out the police. Beautiful woman aged 22-23 years had the figure which is pretty good. After getting out of his car, the female policeman went straight to the evidence. The one at the location ignored the policeman who had been waiting for him. Fortunately, one of the 4 men in suits approached the police and showed his badge, then asked for the results of all the investigations obtained by the police. After getting all the explanations of the man in the suit, then told the police that, well, from here we will take it. Your job is to secure 1 mil from here and make sure no one/reporter can come to this place. After receiving orders, the police saluted and immediately left to secure the 1 mil street from the scene. the investigation team immediately moved to collect evidence and see the victims of this tragedy. After quite a long period of collecting evidence, finally the four men handed it over to the beautiful woman police officer. Miss Lugo, this is the result that we can conclude at this time. The man in the black suit handed over the details of the investigation results that could be found. After the female policeman read the results, the female policeman slightly raised his eyebrows. Reports related to the number of victims who were burned in the car, a fist found in a burning car. It was estimated that the car was hit until it flew and landed several hundred meters, several pistols that had just been used for firing, and also 3 victims which were all the bones in his chest crumbled as if he were hit by a heavy object. The man in the suit came to the conclusion that all of this is really strange and impossible for normal humans to do. Are you sure this number is correct? Asked the female Lugo police. From the location there were only 8 people we could find, the man in the suit explained to the female Lugo police. You see the ashes in front of the car, Lugo policewoman pointed to the ashes in front of the black car in the middle of the road. That is the ashes of the 9th victim, I can smell the blood from the ash, said Lugo police. The man in the jacket who heard this was shocked, if the ash on the road turned out to be ash from human combustion. But there is no leftover bone around the ashes, said the man in the black suit. I know the culprit is definitely a person who is very strong, and I think this person is a cultivator and his level must be high, maybe the level of sky realm that can burn people to ashes easily, Lugo female police explained to the man in the black coat. After the man in the black coat knew that this was done by a cultivator, the man in the black suit understood why this incident was so strange. Even though the man in the black suit was not a cultivator, but after becoming an investigation policy, the man in the black suit had little knowledge of what a cultivator was, and how strong they all were. Cultivators could be called monsters because they were far more powerful than even trained soldiers. Lugo female police officer, let's just close this special for a while, take the bodies and identify all of them, whether they are bad people or not. I will report it to the organization first. Whether this characteristic is continued or not will be decided by the organization. Lugo female police did not dare to make a decision because the person concerned had enough strength, so only the organization could decide. After saying that, Lugo woman policeman walked towards his car. After entering the policy, Lugo woman immediately started the engine and left this place. Chapter 40, Misunderstanding. I don't know how long Yechen had fallen asleep, when Yechen opened his eyes and looked at the ceiling. With a very nice decoration, this was not Yechen's hotel room. Yechen looked around and saw a giant-size mattress. Yechen remembered that this was a room for doing dual cultivation, but somehow Yechen could enter into the fairy gate. Beside him Zhao Yanyan was still sleeping very peacefully. It seemed that Zhao Yanyan was still exhausted. Your master is awake. Chu Yueshen's voice was heard near the door. Yechen panicked and immediately took a blanket beside him to cover the naked part of his body. Yueshen, why did you come into this room? Yechen asked. Chu Yuchen giggling, the master doesn't need to cover yourself anymore. Last night I saw all your body parts, so what else do you want to hide from me? Chu Yueshen's words like a bolt of lightning for Yechen. Yechen had no idea that he and Zhao Yanyan, when they were doing dual cultures, were seen by Chu Yueshen. Bad girl, how can you peek at someone who is intimately connected? Are you not ashamed? Yechen scolded Chu Yueshen. It's not your fault, Yechen. Who told me to show the spectacle to me? Chu Yueshen said with a very red face. Chu Yueshen said as if he wasn't the one who was wrong at the beginning. Yechen didn't want to be right with this girl, so Yechen tried to find where his clothes were. Yechen, Yueshen, where did you put my clothes? This Chu Yuchen then took out a shirt from his storage room and handed it to Yechen. Yechen accepted the clothes given by Chu Yueshen and wore them on his body. These clothes were like the old China clothes that often appeared on Dynasty TV series. Now Yechen, you just broke through and it looks like your stiffness isn't stable yet. You should stabilize it first. Chu Yueshen gave Yechen a suggestion. Yechen cursed. Indeed, Yechen intended to stabilize his strength first. Seeing that Zhao Yanyan was still sleeping very peacefully, Ye Chen went to a calm enough place to start stabilizing his strength. Chu Yueshan didn't follow Ye Chen because he didn't want to bother him and go somewhere. Ye Chen began to imprison in a calm place and stabilize his strength. After about 5 hours, Ye Chen managed to stabilize his strength. Now Ye Chen had truly entered the 8th level ancient warrior realm. Ye Chen then rose from the place where he sat. Ye Chen immediately went back to the room where Zhao Yanyan slept. When he reached the door of the dual cultivation room, Ye Chen heard Zhao Yanyang's voice calling his name while crying a little. Ye Chen immediately opened the door and saw what was happening in that room. Zhao Yanyan initially dreamed that he and Ye Chen were married and were having a honeymoon in a private island which had a very beautiful view. Zhao Yanyan dreamed if Ye Chen took him to a big bed and Ye Chen laid him on a very comfortable mattress and Ye Chen hugging him until they both fall asleep together. But when Zhao Yanyan woke up, Zhao Yanyan did not see Ye Chen around him and started shouting calling Ye Chen. Zhao Yanyan was afraid that what he had just experienced was only a dream. Zhao Yanyan, who felt hopelessly curled up while continuing to call on Ye Chen's name, finally the door was open and the figure of Ye Chen came out from behind that door. Ye Chen saw Zhao Yanyan, who was crouching on the bed. "Dear wife, what is going on?" Ye Chen asked, worried. Ye Chen then approached Zhao Yanyan and Zhao Yanyan immediately hugged Ye Chen. "Husband, everywhere you just now, I was very afraid you would leave me," Zhao Yanyan said while hugging Ye Chen very tightly. "Calm down, I will not leave you in this life and the next life," Ye Chen said. After that Ye Chen kissed Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan also started to kiss Ye Chen. Ahem, they both kissed long enough for a coughing voice to wake them both. The person who disturbed this moment was Chu Yueshan. Chu Yueshan originally wanted to see Ye Chen's condition, but when Chu Yueshan entered the room he saw that Ye Chen and also Zhao Yanyan were kissing. But because the kiss of the two of them took a long time to make Chu Yueshan annoyed and he coughed to disrupt the world of those two. Ye Chen looked at Chu Yueshan with hostility for bothering him, while for Zhao Yanyan saw the woman in front of him who was very beautiful, like a fairy in a fairyland. Zhao Yanyan was quite curious who this beautiful woman was, so Zhao Yanyan asked the woman, "Who are you?" "I am Chu Yueshan, Ye Chen's servant." "Right, master dear," Chu Yueshan said, teasing Ye Chen. Ye Chen knew how Chu Yueshan's character, who liked to tease him, but this time Chu Yueshan teased him in front of Zhao Yanyan. This would definitely be a misunderstanding before them. Zhao Yanyan, who heard this, Zhao Yanyan raised her eyebrows and was not satisfied. Zhao Yanyan then reached out her hand and pinched Ye Chen's waist. "Husband, please explain what the beautiful woman just said." "Ah, Yanyan is sick, I'll explain. Let go first." Actually Ye Chen doesn't feel pain, but if Ye Chen doesn't pretend then Zhao Yanyan might get even more angry. "Ye Chen, Yanyan, our relationship is only limited to masters and servants and there is no other special relationship," Ye Chen tried to explain to Zhao Yanyan. "Chu Yueshan, your master is really bad. After you do that to me you throw me away," Chu Yueshan said while crying a little. This woman Ye Chen had no idea that Chu Yueshan was very good at acting. If it continued then maybe it really could lead to a misunderstanding. "Yanyan's sister, you have to help me pack." Ye Chen. Chu Yueshan ran towards Zhao Yanyan while complaining to him. Zhao Yanyan immediately looked at Ye Chen with a hostile look. Ye Chen came out. "There is something I want to discuss with sister Chu Yueshan." Zhao Yanyan drove Ye Chen out of this room. "Yanyan, can I explain this to you?" Ye Chen said, trying to convince Zhao Yanyan. "There is nothing to explain. Hurry and get out of here," Zhao Yanyan said. Ye Chen was helpless with all this and could only leave the room, but in his heart Ye Chen had already vowed to give Chu Yueshan a punishment if Ye Chen could catch him. Now in the room only Zhao Yanyan and also Chu Yueshan. "Just Puchi," Chu Yueshan laughing. Zhao Yanyan quite confused why Chu Yueshan suddenly left. "Yanyan's younger sister, how was my acting? Good," said Chu Yueshan. "What now?" Zhao Yanyan was astonished that he had no idea that Chu Yueshan was acting in front of him, even causing Zhao Yanyan to scold Ye Chen. Zhao Yanyan was afraid that Ye Chen was angry and didn't want to let him go anymore. Zhao Yanyan pushed Chu Yueshan away and immediately chased after Ye Chen. But when Zhao Yanyan's feet stepped on the floor, Zhao Yanyan felt extreme pain from the bottom. Zhao Yanyan tried to get up but the pain even increased. Chu Yueshan, who saw this, felt sorry for Zhao Yanyan, so Chu Yueshan tried to help Zhao Yanyan stand from the floor. Zhao Yanyan, let me go, I have to chase Ye Chen. Zhao Yanyan tried to break away from Chu Yueshan. Little brother, calm down, Ye Chen will not be angry from such a thing, let's discuss something more important first, said Chu Yueshan. Is it true? Asked Zhao Yanyan Yang, who still couldn't believe Chu Yueshan's words. Yanyan's sister, this time I will not lie to you again, I promise, Chu Yueshan swore at Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan then received help from Chu Yueshan. Chu Yueshan helped Zhao Yanyan got up from the floor and helped her to sit on the bed. Zhao Yanyan still felt the pain of the relationship he had with Ye Chen last night. Zhao Yanyan could only blame Ye Chen, who was too excited just now, but even so Zhao Yanyan was also quite excited last night, enjoying the intimate relationship. Zhao Yanyan could still feel the satisfaction that was given by Ye Chen last night. Chapter 41, Zhao Yanyan made a decision. Yueshan's sister, why did you do that to both of us? Zhao Yanyan asked why Chu Yueshan teased the two of them until there was a misunderstanding between the two of them. Actually, I just wanted to test how you react when Ye Chen has another woman, but I didn't know you would be that angry, he. Chu Yueshan really wanted to test Zhao Yanyan because in the future more women would come to Ye Chen. Chu Yueshan wanted to see whether Zhao Yanyan could accept other women or not. Another woman? Does Ye Chen have another woman out there? For now Ye Chen is only you, but in the future there will definitely be many women that Ye Chen has, maybe dozens, hundreds, or even thousands, But why, what I am not enough for him, why Ye Chen still have to have another woman? Zhao Yanyan feels a little strange that one man can have dozens or hundreds of wives. Every modern woman does not like to share a partner with another woman, because on earth it is a modern era that favors gender equality, so only a few women want to be scabies/concubines of others in this world. Chu Yueshan did not know about that. Because Chu Yueshan lived in an era where even one man could have up to dozens of concubines, even the king of the Lord of the Stars had thousands, even tens of thousands, because that was the one man had many women who were not anxious for Chu Yueshan. So Chu Yueshan explained about the world of cultivation and why Ye Chen needed many women in the future. Because Zhao Yanyan was still a layman in this matter, Chu Yueshan had to work extra hard to explain it so that Zhao Yanyan could understand. At first Zhao Yanyan was quite confused with what was said by Chu Yueshan, but eventually Zhao Yanyan began to understand. Then what, sister of Yu Chan, Yin, from me is not enough for Ye Chen? Well, that won't be enough. If Ye Chen absorbs too much, Yin, from you, it won't be good for you, and I'm sure even if you force Ye Chen will definitely not want to do it. Well, you might be the true sister of Yueshan. Zhao Yanyan sighed. Zhao Yanyan was still doubtful whether he could accept it or not. Chu Yueshan saw a hint of doubt in Zhao Yanyan's eyes, then Chu Yueshan said, Yanyan's sister, do you love Ye Chen? Yes, I love him very much, but what? If you really love him you should support him after many sacrifices made by Ye Chen. A good woman is a woman who can support her man and can accept all the shortcomings he has. After hearing Chu Yueshan's words, Zhao Yanyan then pondered. Ye Chen always helped him when Zhao Yanyan was in trouble, and now it was Zhao Yanyan's turn to help Ye Chen get yin, so Ye Chen could continue to live. Little brother, now that you've entered the path of a cultivator, so don't think like a mortal creature that can only live for decades. Chu Yueshan said, explaining that after Zhao Yanyan did dual cultivation with Ye Chen, Zhao Yanyan immediately broke into the first level realm spirit formation. This is a very extraordinary progress because in just one night managed to rise 2 worlds. It can be seen how the benefits can be obtained only from doing dual cultivation with Ye Chen. After pondering well, Zhao Yanyan finally made the decision, Yueshan's sister, I will definitely always support Ye Chen beside him from now on, because I am his first wife. Hearing this, Chu Yueshan's siam bloomed like a flower. Finally Yueshan was able to convince Zhao Yanyan, and future problems would definitely not be too difficult. When Zhao Yanyan's special body woke up completely, surely his mind patterns would become more advanced, and could accept everything easily. I'm glad you've made your own decision. Then how about we go take a shower and change clothes? The water here can make you more relaxed and fresh. Let's try it. Without waiting for an answer from Zhao Yanyan, Chu Yueshan immediately pulled Zhao Yanyan's hand and disappeared from the room. Whereas Ye Chen was still faithfully waiting outside, the dual cultivation watchman waiting for Zhao Yanyan to come out and explain to him. But until now there were no signs that Zhao Yanyan and Chu Yueshan wanted to come out, so Ye Chen could only wait bored. Ye Chen didn't know that Chu Yueshan and also Zhao Yanyan had left the room, because the dual cultivation room had a barrier that prevented outsiders from being able to know what was being done inside. Chu Yueshan took Zhao Yanyan into a room. When Zhao Yanyan entered the room, Zhao Yanyan saw a large pool about 70/80 meters in diameter. Oddly, that pool one side emits steam and one side does not. Because curious, Zhao Yanyan tried one of its side that emits steam. Zhao Yanyan began to get used to the weirdness of this weirdness. When Zhao Yanyan dipped his hand, Zhao Yanyan felt a warm feeling from this water, and when Zhao Yanyan tried to dip his hand again on the other side, the water on the other side was very cold as ice. Zhao Yanyan reflected in water that was as clear as that mirror. Zhao Yanyan felt something different from his face. For some reason Zhao Yanyan felt that he was getting more beautiful. Zhao Yanyan tried to hold his face and felt that his face really was very soft, supple, and moist. Zhao Yanyan also tried the parts of his hands, and the results, the skin on Zhao Yanyan's hands was really almost the same as his face. Zhao Yanyan didn't remember having this beautiful skin like this before, so Zhao Yanyan asked Tanya in her heart about this very sudden change. Chu Yueshan, who saw Zhao Yanyan's strange behavior reflecting in the water, touched his face with his finger, so Chu Yueshan asked Yanyan's sister, "What are you doing?" "Yueshan sister, I don't know why I feel something is different from me. I feel that I'm getting prettier. What do you think?" He. That is the effect of doing dual cultivation with Ye Chen. Besides being able to increase strength, can also make a woman not grow old and get even more beautiful. Maybe Yanyan's sister can be beautiful like me if she routinely conducts dual cultivation with Ye Chen. Chu Yueshan explained the benefits of doing dual cultivation with Ye Chen. Really? Zhao Yanyan could not believe that carrying out dual cultivation with Ye Chen could have this effect. Wait, if this is discovered by other women, the women are even more willing to have sex with sexual relations with Ye Chen. The temptation to be beautiful is what every woman cannot resist, even women willing to spend millions of dollars to stay young and beautiful. Moreover, women only have to do dual cultivation with Ye Chen. Besides being free, the women will get unparalleled pleasure. Chu Yueshan just laughed next to Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan did not wear clothes from the beginning, only a blanket wrapped around it. After the blanket fell, Zhao Yanyan's naked body, which was very beautiful, can be seen clearly. Zhao Yanyan then walked towards the bathing pool. Zhao Yanyan didn't like the cold water, so Zhao Yanyan decided to go to the warm side of the water. When Zhao Yanyan buried her whole body, Zhao Yanyan felt a very relaxed feeling. Zhao Yanyan hearing the sound of people taking off clothes from behind, so Zhao Yanyan was curious. Then Zhao Yanyan looked back and saw. Zhao Yanyan saw that Chu Yueshan had wasted all his clothes. Apart from having a peerless face, Chu Yueshan's naked body was truly perfect. His figure was like a demon with a waist like a willow tree, had very sexy legs, and also the two F-cup tops that had the shape perfect. This combination can drive men crazy if you see it. Chu Yueshan also entered into the side of the warm bathing pool and soaked next to Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan, who looked at the two peaks of Chu Yueshan mountain and compared it with his newly developing property. Men like to compare their younger brothers, likewise women like to compare their body parts. Eventually the two of them began to cleanse their bodies with warm water and chat with the topic about Ye Chen. Zhao Yanyan is quite difficult because this shirt is difficult to wear, because Zhao Yanyan has never worn this Sirumet shirt before. Chu Yueshan had finished wearing his clothes. Seeing that Zhao Yanyan was very difficult in wearing his clothes, Chu Yueshan then helped Zhao Yanyan how to wear it. After being assisted by Chu Yueshan, finally Zhao Yanyan finished wearing it. Zhao Yanyan looked very beautiful when wearing this outfit, like a fairy descending from heaven. Zhao Yanyan, who saw herself in the mirror, could not believe that ancient clothes were very suitable for her, making Zhao Yanyan look even more beautiful. After finishing up, they both intend to meet Ye Chen. Ye Chen was still waiting patiently in front of that room's door. Finally the door opened and Ye Chen saw Chu Yueshan and also Zhao Yanyan come out of the room, and Zhao Yanyan was wearing clothes that were almost the same as those worn by Chu Yueshan. Zhao Yanyan in clothes like that really looked like a beautiful fairy. Zhao Yanyan then walked closer to Ye Chen. Yanyan me. Before Ye Chen could finish his words, Zhao Yanyan's fingers closed his mouth. Ye Chen doesn't need to explain it again, Yueshan's sister already explained it to me everything. Ye Chen looked towards Chu Yueshan, and Chu Yueshan gave Ye Chen a mischievous smile. Okay. Ye Chen, what do I think of my appearance? You look so beautiful in that wife's clothes. Zhao Yanyan felt very happy being praised by Ye Chen and his heart was full of blooming flowers. Chapter 42, Fairy Gate Level Up. Zhao Yanyan, oh yes husband, what are we going to do next? Ye Chen, how about we choose several techniques for Yanyan's younger sister? However, Yanyan's younger sister has entered the world of cultivation and Yanyan's younger sister hasn't had any technique yet. Chu Yueshan asked Ye Chen to immediately go to the technical storage pagoda. Ye Chen also realized that Zhao Yanyan had entered the world of cultivation and was already at the beginning of the realm's spirit formation. The progress of Zhao Yanyan was truly astonishing only by doing dual cultivation with Ye Chen. Moreover, Zhao Yanyan from the beginning was only a normal human who did not even enter the martial realm level. But only in the overnight time has risen. Two worlds are immediately at the initial level of spirit formation realm. If cultivators on earth who have practiced several decades and could only set foot on the level of spirit formation realm knew this news, they would definitely vomit blood. Finally Ye Chen went together with Zhao Yanyan and Chu Yueshan to the pagoda tower, a place where cultivation techniques were stored. While on the road, Ye Chen did not forget to explain the basis of cultivation to Zhao Yanyan. His father Ye Chen and the women arrived in front of the entrance to the pagoda, then they all entered into it. Our wife has arrived at the place of cultivation techniques, let's see. See, and if you find a technique that you like, take it. After that Yanyan went to the existing shelves and began to search for the technique he liked. Annie Yueshan, do you think that cultivation technique is suitable for Yanyan? Ye Chen asked Chu Yueshan because Chu Yueshan's experience was richer than him. Because Yanyan's younger sister has a body saint, then the technique of light attribute should be the most suitable for her. But let Yanyan's little brother choose what he likes, let fate find his own way, but it seems like it will take a while. After saying that, Chu Yueshan sat in the same chair when Ye Chen first arrived at this pagoda. Ye Chen looked at Zhao Yanyan, who was sorting out the technical books one by one. The speed of Zhao Yanyan was really very slow. To wait for Zhao Yanyan to get the technique, Zhao Yanyan wanted Ye Chen to sit next to Chu Yueshan and wait patiently. After about 4 hours, Zhao Yanyan finally got the desired technique. Zhao Yanyan took the first two techniques, the light technique to punish the sky, and the second technique was the goddess melody technique. Ye Chen saw the description of the technique that Zhao Yanyan was holding in his hand. The penalty light technique of the heavens. Anyone who cultivates this technique can use the light attribute, and this technique also has a few special attacks. Only 3 skills in this book can be used after learning the light of heaven's judgment, that is the light chain, the shield of light, and also the light sword. Light chain can seal all enemy movements for a while. The duration of sealing enemy movements depends on the level of Pengunana. Light shield, make a protection around the user and fend off all attacks made by the enemy. The defense force also adjusts to the level of use. Light sword, making a flying sword from light. This flying sword can be used to attack an enemy or to defend against an enemy attack, to control the movement of the flying sword. And the second technique is the melody technique of the goddess, the female goddess who plays music in the battlefield, which makes the allies get blessings and for the enemies get a curse. This technique can strengthen the power of friends, and can confuse the enemy of melodies that are released and have a very broad range. Melodic goddess technique can also kill many enemies from a great distance. Unfortunately, this technique is not suitable for melee, as much as possible the user of this technique to keep his distance from his enemy. But according to Ye Chen, if the light of heaven's punishment and technique of the goddess melody is combined, it will be very suitable and complementary. Ye Chen read the second description of this technique, and according to Ye Chen this technique was quite good. But unfortunately both of them were only a first-level manual and were still incomplete. Yueshan, do you know where the continuation of this manual technique is? Ye Chen asked because he felt that this technique was incomplete if Zhao Yanyan learned it. For the advanced level of the light judge technique, the sky is on the top floor. In this pagoda it consists of 5 floors and the floor that we are currently occupying is the first floor. The technique here is mostly low-ranking god techniques or incomplete techniques, and if you want to learn all the full versions you have to search all the floors in this pagoda. Chu Yueshan explained to Ye Chen about the details in this pagoda. You mean if you want the full version we have to search upstairs? Ye Chen asked. Yes, you could say so. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go up to the next floor. Ye Chen wanted to immediately see the technique on the second floor right now. The second floor is currently inaccessible or not yet open. Then how do you make the second floor? Ye Chen asked Chu Yueshan how to open the second floor of this pagoda. The problem is you are still at level 2, and to open the second floor requires level 20 to access it. Chu Yueshan explained how to open the second floor of this pagoda. Level? What do you mean, Yueshan? Ye Chen still hadn't fully known the ins and outs of the fairy gate secrets. For Ye Chen the fairy gate really had a lot of mysteries stored up. It's my fault, I forgot to explain at the beginning to you, because you were too cool in practice when you first came here. Then Chu Yueshan explained to Ye Chen more about this fairy gate. The first few places that are in this fairy gate are still inaccessible or not yet open, and to open them you must increase the level of the fairy gate's authority. You only need to think about your status details to find out your current level. Ye Chen then followed the instructions given by Chu Yueshan and tried it. When Ye Chen thought about it, a status window appeared in front of Ye Chen. This status window had some neatly written information. Details of the fairy gate ruler. LVL, 2. Name, Ye Chen. Age, 19 years old. Strength, Ancient Warrior Realm. Inherited, God of Sage. Technique, King's Heart Technique, God's Path Technique, Step 9 Shadow, Desolate Palms Technique. Author's note, the following technical details follow. V. Woman, Zhao Yanyan. Current EXP, 1484. Then how do I get EXP? Ye Chen was already at the second level, but Ye Chen still didn't know how to get his experience. There are 3 ways to memorize Express 1. Conquering women, 2. Training your women, 3. Do dual cultivation with your woman. Well, that's 3 ways to get Express so you can raise your level. Every level up there will be a mysterious gift and new things will open at the fairy gate. Chu Yueshan explained 3 ways to be able to level up. Now Ye Chen understood why Chu Yueshan was insisting that Ye Chen could quickly find many women. The more women the faster the fairy gate could level up. Zhao Yanyan was left alone. Zhao Yanyan didn't understand what Ye Chen was talking about, and could only hear next to the 2 of them. Ye Chen had just leveled up and had not yet taken the prize, so Ye Chen pressed take the prize, then several posts appeared on the window screen. Congratulations on reaching level 2 of the fairy gate lord. This is the gift you will get: Marrow X3, Zither Lotus X1, Heaven Peach Seedlings. LVL1 growth area in the medicinal garden is open. For marrow pills it was useless for Ye Chen, but for Zhao Yanyan it was a good thing. The second item Ye Chen sees in his details: weapons used by the flower elves in the past to sweep the battlefield. Unfortunately this tool has been damaged and lost its power. Now this tool is entered into a level 3 spiritual weapon. Ye Chen thought that the Zither Lotus Spur was related to the goddess melody technique. So Ye Chen thought of giving this spiritual tool to Zhao Yanyan only, and looked for ways to improve it in the future. The third item is Heaven Peach Seedlings. This fruit can restore the power of a cultivator in a certain jula, and it seems that in all the Deva realms no fruit can defeat its delicacy. This peach takes 100 days to bear fruit until ripe and ready to eat. And lastly, area growth LVL1 arrangement of area that can accelerate the growth of plants, fruit, medicine, etc. Up to 50x fold from normal. If a peach takes 100 days for the fruit to ripen, if using the area arrangement it only takes 2 days for the fruit to ripen. Chapter 43, Practicing Technique. Yechen received all the prizes, they all went straight into the ferry gate storage, and this ferry gate had an infinite storage capacity. This was far better than Yechen's storage ring. Because the principle is similar to a storage ring and it's impossible to see, it's very suitable for Yechen. My wife has a good gift for you. Yechen then took the Mara washing pills and the zither lotus and handed them to Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan received pill bottles and zither that looks very beautiful. Zhao Yanyan loves traditional musical instruments, therefore Zhao Yanyan draws on techniques related to musical instruments. Yechen also explained that this zither lotus was a spiritual weapon and had special powers. Yanyan's younger sister. How about I teach you these 2 techniques, come with me. After that Chu Yueshan took Zhao Yanyan to the practice room to practice these 2 new techniques. Your husband wants to come with us. Zhao Yanyan asked Yechen to go to the training room. You guys go first, I'll follow you soon. Yechen wanted to follow the 2 of them, but first Yechen wanted to plant the seeds of the peach heaven first, so Yechen hurried to the medicinal garden. Arriving in the medicinal garden, Yechen searched for the empty land to plant heaven peach seeds. For Yechen's growth area technique you can at any time make it possible to disable or disable it. After finishing planting heaven peach seedlings, Yechen went following Zhao Yanyan and Chu Yueshan. Yechen finally arrived in the practice room and saw Zhao Yanyan being lectured by the Chu Yueshan basic problem to become a cultivator. Yechen didn't want to relax, Yechen wanted to practice his technique further, to become even more perfect. These 3 people did not realize that time had passed for a whole day, and Zhao Yanyan had successfully mastered the basis of the 2 techniques. Zhao Yanyan showed off that technique to Yechen, like a little girl who showed off her new toy. Yechen only smiled at Zhao Yanyan's behavior. Yechen brought Zhao Yanyan out of this place. Yechen then gave Zhao Yanyan one of the 3 keys of the ferry gate. This ferry gate key was a special right for women because it could go in and out of the ferry gate completely. This ferry gate key turns out is a mark that appears in Zhao Yanyan's left hand, and this mark will appear if Zhao Yanyan wants to enter or from the ferry gate. When Yechen and Zhao Yanyan came out, it turned out that they were still outside. Yechen looked at the clock on the wall and showed me it was 9 o'clock at night. My husband wants to take a shower first. After saying that, Zhao Yanyan immediately went into the bathroom and prepared to take a shower. Yechen was currently quite exhausted after practicing some of his techniques. Yechen lay on the bed of the bed. When Yechen was relaxing, suddenly the cell phone rang. When Yechen looked at his cell phone, it turned out that it wasn't his. Yechen saw that the cell phone that was ringing belonged to Zhao Yanyan. When Yechen took it, it turned out that the person who was calling Zhao Yanyan was Linruxi. Yechen looked at the bathroom door and saw that Zhao Yanyan was taking a shower, so Yechen decided to lift it. When the call was connected, Yanyan, where are you now, why aren't you home yet? Linruxi's tone on the cell phone seemed to be very worrying about Zhao Yanyan's condition. Teacher Lin is currently Yanyan with me, so you don't need to worry. Who are you? How is Yanyan's cell phone in your hands? It's me, Yechen, and now Yanyan is taking a bath, so I picked up his cell phone. Are you Yechen? Yechen, you say Yanyan is taking a shower? Actually, what are you doing together with Yanyan now? Yechen spoke wrongly, so Linruxi actually showered him with so many questions. Luckily Zhao Yanyan was out of the bathroom and was wearing a towel. Yanyan, teacher Lin called you, this is for you. Yechen handed the phone to Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan Yang received the phone, was completely scolded by Linruxi, leaving Zhao Yanyan helpless. Luckily Zhao Yanyan was good at making excuses for Linruxi to believe in her. After the phone was turned off, Zhao Yanyan looked at Ye Chen with a complaining look. Ye Chen, it's your fault, I was scolded by Ruxi's sister. Ha ha ha, what can I do with it? Oh yeah, are you going home to where you live? Sister Lin told me to go home soon because it was very late. Okay, I'll take you. After that, Zhao Yanyan immediately changed his clothes to the clothes that he was wearing before. When Zhao Yanyan changed his clothes, Ye Chen never took his eyes off of Zhao Yanyan's body. Zhao Yanyan was not shy about being seen by Ye Chen when he was naked, instead Zhao Yanyan felt quite happy. After a little more or less minutes, Zhao Yanyan finished dressing and dressing. Ye Chen then immediately drove Zhao Yanyan home by flying, because it was far faster than walking. Finally Ye Chen and Zhao Yanyan arrived at the front gate of the girls' dormitory. Husband until here only. Zhao Yanyan then went towards the entrance of the hostel, but while taking a few steps Zhao Yanyan turned back and kissed Ye Chen. Ye Chen was not ready with Zhao Yanyan's sudden attack. Zhao Yanyan, my real husband does not want to be separated from you. It was natural because Zhao Yanyan felt that the two of them were new beauties and did not want to be separated as far as possible. Ye Chen, what do you say? If you want to meet me you can enter the ferry gate, wherever we are we can meet at any time. Zhao Yanyan, not tonight. I want to just rest. I am quite exhausted from fighting, husband until tomorrow again. After saying that Zhao Yanyan left Ye Chen's arms and ran towards the entrance of the dormitory. After the figure of Zhao Yanyan was not seen again, Ye Chen decided to leave this place and immediately returned to the hotel to rest too. Chapter 44, Delicious Peaches. The next day Ye Chen left to go to school. Last night after returning to take Zhao Yanyan, Ye Chen home and sleep in his room. Today the weather is very bright and beautiful, people are also starting to go to work looking for money for the necessities of life. Upon arrival near the school, Chen suddenly was stopped by several people. These people were carrying iron pipes and clubs. Are you Ye Chen? The person who spoke to Ye Chen, all parts of his head were wrapped in bandages like a walking mummy. Ye Chen almost laughed at this. I have no business with you all, get out of my way quickly. Ye Chen tried to hold them all out of his way. I ask again, are you Ye Chen or not, or I hit you? Men with bandages like mummies really shouted at Ye Chen. Yes, I am Ye Chen, what do you want from me? Ye Chen had already lost his temper and challenged these bad guys. Good, you two quickly break the legs of this person. The man with the mummy bandage on his head ordered his two men who were carrying weapons to hit Ye Chen. Bang! Before the man with the bandage on the head could laugh, Ye Chen had already hit his head until it bounced a few meters, and the head of the man with the bandage crashed into a street light pole. The two bad guys could only see their boss being hit by Ye Chen. The two bad guys immediately used an iron pipe and a wooden stick to hit Ye Chen. Bang! 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 They both beat Ye Chen with all their might. Samapay iron pipe, crooked and broken wooden sticks. The two criminals saw a bent pipe and a broken wooden stick with horror. What made those two bad guys feel weird was that Ye Chen was still standing like a sturdy wall. Oh, the massage was comfortable enough now, get lost. Ye Chen raised the collar of the two bad guys, then slammed their heads at each other as hard as possible. The two bad guys immediately felt pain in their heads. Ye Chen then walked towards the man who was wearing a bandage. The bandage that this person is wearing now apart, and this bad guy is showing his real face. People's faces were familiar to Ye Chen, even though the state of people's faces was as thick as Ye Chen still remembering this person. Yes, this bad guy was the blonde-haired man who was looking for trouble with Ye Chen while at the antique goods exhibition. Say, who sent you? Ye Chen grabbed the blonde man's hair and asked. Brother, my grandfather, I'm sorry for confusing you just now, the person who asked me to beat me was sent to. The blonde man tried to look for mercy on Ye Chen. Sent to, Ye Chen muttered. It turned out that one of the pursuers of Zhao Yanyan was in his class yesterday. Ye Chen had warned him yesterday and it seemed like Sentu didn't take him seriously. Just look later, I will definitely make that person regret. Zhao Yanyan was now his woman. Ye Chen would not let others have bad thoughts on him. I don't know what your name is, but if in the future you dare to look for trouble again, then there won't be anything else in the future. Ye Chen had no business with these people, so Ye Chen let them go, and continued on his way to school. After Ye Chen left, the two people whose head hurts could finally wake up. The two men approached the blond man and helped him up. Boss, what do we do now? Should we release that person? These two bad guys were a little afraid of Ye Chen because of his weirdness. They both had beaten him up and nothing happened to Chen Chen. Let go? After what he did to us, how can I get rid of this person named Ye Chen? The blonde-haired man had just come out of the hospital this morning and now some of his teeth seemed to fall out by Ye Chen's punch. How could a blonde-haired man get rid of Ye Chen? Let's go back, I'll ask Big Wolf's big brother for this problem. After that the three of them left right on that too by walking a little staggered. After a few minutes Ye Chen finally arrived at his class smoothly without any other interference. Zhao Yanyan seemed to have arrived early and as usual read a book. Wife. Ye Chen manjile and hurried off to the side of Zhao Yanyan's seat. Ah. Ye Chen doesn't call me like that in public. Zhao Yanyan, who was reading the book, was shocked by Ye Chen's call earlier. Okay Yanyan, so are you used to being a cultivator? Ye Chen asked whether Zhao Yanyan was getting used to being a cultivator. Yes, I like it, you know. After I woke up this morning and tried to memorize the contents of the book, in just one reading I could remember it very clearly. It's good that Yanyan likes it. So does Teacher Lin know about our relationship? Ye Chen changed the topic towards Lin Ruxi. It's your fault, you know. In fact I was really scolded for more than half an hour. Luckily I could find an excuse if I didn't. Zhao Yanyan complained to Ye Chen. If not, what? Ye Chen wanted to know the continuation of Zhao Yanyan's words. Ah, forget it. Oh yeah, Ye Chen, seems like your relationship with Ruxi's sister is quite special. Yesterday's sister Ruxi calls you to her personal room, right? Now it's Zhao Yanyan's turn to change the subject. My relationship with Lin Ruxi is not special, it can only be teachers and students. Then tell me what you did yesterday in Lin Ruxi's sister's room. Ah, that question. Ye Chen was a little confused. Must say how, because yesterday Ye Chen had lunch with teacher Lin Ruxi in the writing room and let Zhao Yanyan wait until he was kidnapped. If Ye Chen said it, surely Zhao Yanyan would be angry, because that was Ye Chen confused to answer it. Seeing Chen Chen's doubts, Yanyan Sigura said. Ye Chen, so you don't want to be honest with me? Zhao Yanyan seemed to want to cry. So Ye Chen had no choice but to be honest with Zhao Yanyan. That happened yesterday in Lin Ruxi's room. Zhao Yanyan, ha ha ha, so it was just lunch together. I did not think that your relationship was that close. Ye Chen, that is the reward for healing only Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan, I don't think it's just for making food, you know. Even though Ruxi's older sister makes you food, but if I eat with a man I've never seen before, even every invitation from the male pursuers of Ruxi's sister is always in. Ignore it. Ye Chen, you mean? Ye Chen did not understand the meaning of Zhao Yanyan. I mean, maybe Ruxi's sister has feelings for you. Zhao Yanyan said to Ye Chen. Huh, it's impossible for people like Teacher Lin to be interested in me, he just regards me as a student all this time. Ye Chen recalled that every time Lin Ruxi would always only advise him on the subject and also his future career, and Lin Ruxi never discussed love or anything when they were both. Nothing is impossible in this world, you know, women are very complicated creatures. Zhao Yanyan said as he smiled. Zhao Yanyan, Ye Chen, I'm so glad you want to be honest with me. I don't mind if you have another woman, but I hope that you will always love me in your heart forever. Ye Chen, Yanyan, you will always be the woman I love most in this life and the life to come. Ye Chen took Zhao Yanyan's hand to make his promise. Zhao Yanyan, who heard this, his heart felt very sweet and happy. Master, isn't that great? Zhao Yanyan agreed. You have other women, so in the future there won't be any more problems. Chu Yueshan's voice spoke in his mind. This is none of your business. Ye Chen said nonchalantly. He, at least make a little happy expression. Why, basic not cool. After saying, Chu Yukan kept quiet and said nothing more. Ye Chen and also Zhao Yanyan continued the conversation until the lesson began. The teacher who taught in the morning was not Linruxi but a middle-aged male teacher. Linruxi would teach at noon. During the rest, Zhao Yanyan got an incoming message on his cell phone. Who? Ye Chen asked curiously. This is Linruxi's sister. She said you must go to her room now. There is also an important matter. Zhao Yanyan read the contents of the message. Linruxi knew that Zhao Yanyan and Ye Chen were now good friends, but Linruxi did not know that they were actually a pair of lovers. Therefore Linruxi sent a message to Zhao Yanyan, who was at the same table as Ye Chen. Maybe it's lunch today, then go now or Ruxi's sister will be angry again. Zhao Yanyan encouraged Ye Chen to go to Linruxi's place. Zhao Yanyan planned to make Linruxi a woman of Ye Chen, so that Zhao Yanyan would no longer be afraid that Linruxi would report to his grandfather. Zhao Yanyan's grandfather was a strict person to Zhao Yanyan, which made Zhao Yanyan have a few friends until now because he was too restricted. Fortunately, after living together with Linruxi, Zhao Yanyan felt a little free now. But if Linruxi reported it to his grandfather, it was very likely that Zhao Yanyan would have to go home to his grandfather again. So if Zhao Yanyan and Linruxi were on the same boat, then Linruxi would not report it to his grandfather. That was the perfect plan. Zhao Yanyan did not know when that plan began to cross his mind. Ye Chen arrived at Linruxi Roangan. When he entered the room, the food in the box had been neatly arranged by Linruxi. Oh, looks like it's going to taste good. Ye Chen immediately pulled out a chair and sat face to face with Linruxi. Ye Chen then began to eat the food provisions. Ye Chen felt strange because Linruxi rarely spoke to him as usual, who would ask Ye Chen various things. Even until finished, Linruxi still rarely spoke. Is Teacher Lin angry at me? Ye Chen said in his heart. After finishing eating, Ye Chen said goodbye and left Lin Lingxi's room. Right now Linruxi's face was very red. In his mind the incident of the indirect kiss yesterday always loomed in his mind, which was a shame to start talking to Ye Chen. So Linruxi from the beginning only bowed his head while eating with Ye Chen. After exiting the room, Linruxi Ye Chen returned to his class, and met Zhao Yanyan. Oh Ye Chen, you're back, so fast. Zhao Yanyan questioned Ye Chen. Of course I will quickly return to accompany Yanyan dear. Ye Chen came and hugged Zhao Yanyan. Fortunately the class was pretty quiet during recess and there were only Ye Chen and also Zhao Yanyan in the class. Ye Chen, are you still hungry? Zhao Yanyan asked. Ye Chen, so what? Today I bring food, how about we eat together? Zhao Yanyan pulled out a box of food from under the table. Yes, let's just go to the Elves' Gate, there won't be anyone disturbing us. Ye Che then dragged Zhao Yanyan to a deserted place so that when they came out no one would know. Ye Chen and also Zhao Yanyan were like having a picnic. The view at the ferry gate was very beautiful. Even when they ate they were very romantic, feeding each other. Ye Chen just remembered that he planted the peach heaven yesterday, it should have grown now. Ye Chen then went to the medicinal garden for a while and saw that the oryang Ye Chen had planted yesterday had now become a big tree and it was really fruitful, and the fruit was much bigger than a peach in general. Even though the fruit is around 30, Ye Chen mememtic fruit around 5 and took to Zhao Yanyan to eat together. Ye Chen suddenly left without speaking first to Zhao Yanyan. When Ye Chen returned and he brought 5 pieces that looked like peaches but were very large in size. What fruit husband is that? Zhao Yanyan asked because he was very curious about the fruit Ye Chen was carrying. It's called paradise peaches, I've never eaten it before either, let's try it together. Ye Chen took a knife from his storage room to peel the flower. Husband, I'll do it. Zhao Yanyan took the fruit and knife from Ye Chen's hands and peeled the fruit. The strange thing is that this fruit does not have any seeds in it, only the fruit. Zhao Yanyan cuts it into small pieces so that it is easy to eat. Ye Chen saw that there were no striking differences with the local peaches on the market. Ye Chen took one piece from the peach and ate it. It tastes really sweet and the body becomes very fresh after eating it. This was the most delicious food Ye Chen had ever eaten in this life. Wife, let's try. Ye Chen then responded to Zhao Yanyan. Zhao Yanyan also felt the same way. Zhao Yanyan had never eaten such delicious food. Zhao Yanyan took another piece and put it in his mouth. In no time at all the 5 fruits had been consumed by Ye Chen and Zhao Yanyan. This fruit, husband, tastes very good. I think I want it again and again after eating it. It's true that this fruit tastes extraordinary. If only this were sold, would sell for thousands of dollars. Ye Chen finally had the idea to get money quickly. Ye Chen could sell this fruit at a high price. Culinary lovers would definitely spend a lot of money for this momentary fruit. But the problem was who Ye Chen had to sell this heaven peach on. Ye Chen began to think. It's also true, why not ask for help from that woman? I'm sure that woman must have many connections to the rich people in the city. Ye Chen said in his heart. Hey you two, what are you doing? Suddenly Chu Yueshan dantang out of nowhere. Zhao Yanyan, our Yueshan's sister, just ate a delicious meal, dear. Once it was finished. You mean the heavenly peach? This fruit is a very rare fruit. It is said that there are only 3 seedlings in the gods Allah. At the time there was one god who planted the seed, and every fruit is fruitful. Eating other gods will scramble to get it, because of the taste of the fruit. This is very extraordinary delicious. Chu Yueshan explained to Zhao Yanyan. Ye Chen began to understand why this fruit did not have ore in it, because indeed this fruit could not be planted, which made it rare. Part 3 of the series ends here. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe so we can be motivated to make even better videos in the future.